Welcome, Bobby. Welcome, everybody out there to Divorce Devil, episode 195. 5 away from the big 200. Get excited. Yes.
Did you plan our party yet?
No.
Okay.
Today we have a special guest, Junie Moon from Jersey, Gurl. She is the CEO of Midlife Love Out Loud, a global love mentor, international best-selling author, certified shadow work coach. What the heck is shadow work? We'll talk about that too. She helps women experience freedom so they can attract that next level love and experience.
I work with men too. Yes, I do.
Their life. The second part of their life. All right. So, Junie, tell us how you came to this point. What was your segue to where you are now? You were born. Bam. Talk to us.
Welcome to the Divorce Devil podcast, a show tailor-made for those stepping out of the divorce recovery space. Follow your hosts, David and Rachel, as they dive into the all-too-familiar shitstorm of the more than interesting end-of-the-road divorce topics, stories, and discussions. While realizing it can be a trying stage, they have been where you are and understand the struggle. And yes, the struggle is real. They know that recovery can be such a clusterfuck. Check out the podcast if you feel like you're juggling chainsaws. Then strap in and hold on for some honesty, authenticity, and hard-in-your-face, irrefutable truths. This innovative podcast is not for the faint-hearted, so if you can't handle the certain truths, just keep it moving. If you can, welcome to the show.
I was born, bam, yes. Like everybody, I've had a journey and been a winding road to this moment and learned a lot about life. And I picked up a lot of beliefs along the way that had me in a marriage where I was walking on eggshells, afraid to actually speak my truth, squashed my voice, and I micromanaged everything. And it was tough. And I ate a lot of food to soothe myself. I hit 200 pounds, thought something was really wrong with me. Yep. Been in the same size body for over 20 years now. So grateful. But the bottom line is I suffered. And then I found this body of work called shadow work, which I'm assuming we're going to talk about because you were like, what the heck is that? And it changed my life. I did shadow dancing. And, and so I learned a lot about why I was being that way. And the marriage didn't last. And then I discovered what I call next level love after the marriage, where I was able to have a deep, meaningful, heart-centered, soulful relationship. And I studied dating and I learned so much. And
How do you study dating?
Yeah.
You make a lot of mistakes with studying dating. Yeah, a lot of dating research, right?
Yeah.
Like the first date was with a guy that didn't look like his pictures. He was a smoker and I'm not a smoker. I used to be. I was like, I can't date this guy. So I made a lot of the mistakes. And so just a lot of people, I listened to a lot of podcasts and I learned how to do it differently. But here's the thing. If you haven't unpacked the past, as we know, if you keep carrying the U-Haul to the next relationship, AKA the shadows, the beliefs,
That's where the shadows are.
We're doomed in dating. So strategies are great.
Lurking in the dark. Picture the movie Ghost. Remember all the
Yes. You know, when I'm thinking shadows, I'm thinking shadow dancing with the Gibb brothers. That's a different story. Never mind, you young people.
I know the Gibb brothers, but I like shadow dancing.
Shadow dancing.
Yeah. No. Oh God, you guys are funny.
Like,
all right, Rachel. What's your first question? I'm going to give it to you first. Yes. Come on. Okay.
Jack.
Come on.
questions.
You were all ready.
I was ready, but you threw me off because I forgot she was from Jersey. This is how the podcast works, and I squirrel a lot too.
Yeah.
It's all good.
What are some of the common misconceptions people have about dating after 40, 50, 60?
Yep.
It's a whole new territory. Let's be real, right? Mm-hmm. We're not looking for baby mamas or baby daddies. So we're wired differently and our hormones are differently. So right there, we're just different. And we've had a whole different life. We've had a full life that has created who we are now. So one of the biggest things that's different is who we're looking for. And we really need to, what I always say the biggest mistake is we haven't taken time to actually revisit and reflect on who we are now. So that's the biggest thing that I think is different is we're different. We are different, and what we're looking for is different, and our trajectory is different. So we need to spend some time on that. Otherwise, you could have the best profile in the world. You're going to call in the wrong person, and then you're going to have the same drama and the same challenges as you've had in the past because you don't know who you are or what you really, truly want now.
Why do we keep going down the same road? Like when you start dating, it's the same person that your ex is.
It's the U-Haul, man. It's the U-Haul.
Oh.
You know, it's the baggage. If you haven't unpacked and healed from the past, and this is what's the shadow work is, the blind spots, we are wired to stay safe. We are wired to not make the same choices as the past. But here's the thing. If we know what happened in the past, why do we keep doing it? Because we haven't resolved the initial reason we attracted the first person to begin with. So I attracted somebody who was highly confident and awesome in so many ways. He was a bright light, and I was drawn to him like a moth to a flame because he was just so full of life. And I had squashed that. So what did you say? I missed that, David.
Moth to flame is my email.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's what you said. Moth to flame. Yeah. So we need to release the past. We need to heal the past. We need to figure out why we've done what we've done leading up to now. Because if we haven't figured that out, we're just going to do it again. It's an inside job.
Yeah. We've discussed before here that I was married 24 years. The last time I dated.
There you go.
The last time I dated.
Ooh, that sounds really nice.
Come on. Hi. The last time I dated, I was 19. So at 19 dating and 45-year-old dating, they look different. When I first started dating out of my marriage, I think my issue was I thought I knew who I was because I left my marriage. And I had all this insecurities. If I couldn't make this 24-year marriage last, how am I going to make a new dating thing last? Dave, what are you doing? Stop touching the stuff. I need to be able to see.
And that's the thing, Rachel. That's the thing. We stop believing that it can even happen. And that's a big deal.
Yeah. And so I think what David was saying too, I think part of going back is it's easier to be comfortable when you're so sad than it is to be like, I already stepped out. So I did the big leap. Now I'm going to take a little step back because I'm scared. And if that familiarity of I'm going to date someone that's like my ex until I realize that's the reason I left, that can take a while. You might have to keep back and forth.
Whole phase.
That's what we call the whole phase.
Whole phase. Yes.
So.
Interestingly enough, it doesn't have to take so long. It just takes long because people aren't doing the work. So yeah, it's uncomfortable. Let's be real. It's like,
So what is
as human beings, we don't like the unknown. So yeah, it's a new chapter. What were you going to say, David?
So what is the work? What is the actual actionable part of the work of the whole phase? Yeah. What's the work?
Doing over there?
Work.
He's lifting,
Shoveling the shit.
Shoveling the shit. You got to unpack it. Shovel that shit.
Got to shovel that shit. There,
There you
I
go.
think that's the title of the episode here. Shovel that
Shovel that
shit.
shit.
They always come. We always have a title, and then it just comes to us in the middle, and like, okay, that's better.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things
what
you
is
have to
the
do?
work? Yeah, what's the work? What's interesting is even as you say that, it sounds like the word work. What do I have to do? It's way more work if you don't do the work I'm about to share, because then you end up doing all the craziness in dating. The work is really looking at your patterns. What did you learn as a kid? What did you learn about love? Meaning parents telling you to get certain kinds of jobs and act certain ways. And then if you were bullied in school, like I was, I learned to lay low and not shine too much. So we pick up all of these beliefs and all of these strategies to stay safe. And then we end up attracting somebody to heal us. So the work, and when I actually just went really fast over that, we attract somebody that's going to poke that wound until we heal it. And so the work is healing the stuff that's in the unconscious mind. And 95% of our brain is unconscious. And that's what's running the show. And that's why we end up self-sabotaging and going for the wrong person. So the work is really slowing down, getting someone like me or someone else that can tap into the realms of the unconscious and figure out what's really calling the shots here. Because we all have shadows. We all have these blind spots. We all have these patterns. But if you don't know how to take the reins back, then the shadow part is in control. And that's when, everything goes to shit.
So can you actually, this is a good question, can you actually do the work by serial dating and getting better at it each time?
Good question. Yeah.
Come on.
I'm not going to say no because there's all anomalies. There's all these different paths and all these different people. And if you look at the stats, second marriages, more than 60% fail. Third marriage, 70% fail. So I don't see it really going so well. I don't see that many people that are happy in their relationships. That's so sad to me. So can you learn as you go? Sure, why not? You could learn what you like, what you don't like, and maybe you get stronger and clearer. From my perspective, some of the oldest wounding happened when you were kids. So it's not about really dating. It's really about unplugging from some of the things that you're scared to be like and to show up as. And we all show up with masks on. That first serial dating, let me put my best foot forward and let me look a certain way. And then 6 months later, oh shit, you look like that.
That was David's issue, hanging in there too long. He didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings because he's already had his feelings hurt, right? His wife pulled the plug and then he went back and then she said something and pulled the plug again and then he was done. So his, I'm analyzing you today.
Go ahead.
And so I think his part too is I'm going to serial date to prove that I'm
worthy
of love because you just.
And I was worthy, man. Oh yeah, I was.
Yeah.
And don't worry about doing fun of your name.
We're so worthy of love. It's just, there's also a part of us that goes, no, you're not. You're really not that good. So consciously, we can look in the mirror and go, I got it going. Or believing in ourselves and doing all the affirmations and reading all the good books saying, yes, I'm journaling and I'm doing all the right thing. But if you haven't tapped into the unconscious mind, David, your wife left you twice. There's got to be a part inside of you on some level that's going, ouch. That's going, did I miss something? It's now the, let's just focus on David show.
That's
but the reality
okay.
That's let me reposition myself because this is good.
Let me ask you, David, can you imagine that there might be a part inside of you that still says, ouch, how did this happen? Or I don't want to take the chance of it happening again or something like that.
Not so much. I got remarried a year ago.
There you go.
I just
tell me that.
And I say yes to everything. I say yes to everything. Yes, honey. So yeah, man, life is good.
Wait a second. Not that I want to blow up your marriage here. So that might be a pattern too. If the other marriage didn't go so well and you had the rug pulled out from underneath you, you might have learned on some level, I better just say yes and keep the peace. And that's a wonderful thing because all men should say yes to their women. Boom. But anyway, but that's not what this podcast is about. And I'm totally joking. We want conscious, honest, deep, intimate relationships. And so if your yes is a true, solid yes, that's beautiful. And we need to be mindful that sometimes we say yes because we're scared if we say no, something bad might happen. And that's what lives in the unconscious mind, that old, and unless you take some time to ask yourself, is this possibly something here? That's why I said we can be dating a lot, but if we haven't really looked at the ouch part, it could be brought to the next relationship.
That's deep, man.
Are you gonna cry?
No.
Should I make him cry, Rachel? All right, let's go back to childhood, David.
So, like, when I listened to 2 episodes of your podcast, and one was talking about trauma, and another thing that we have in common, 4th grade girls were my bully, and I didn't know that I had that issue. I work in elementary school, and 4th grade girls, for some reason, I was just like, nope, they're mean, they're terrible. They can't be nice. There's no real reason. Because they're not.
Because they're 4th grade girls.
And I didn't know until I've done some deep diving and some self-reflection. And when was all my trauma and how old was I? It was 9. I moved to a new school. I had all these people coming at me. And so I have consciously decided to try to be better with the 4th grade girls in our school. And it's not working for me. But I now know that one of the reasons I have girl groups intimidate me, but 1 or 2 girls that I trust solely, that's my life. That's where I live. I have like multiple groups of 1 or 2 friends that either know each other or similar or whatever. But once it gets to 4 or 5, then I'm like,
that's old stuff. Yeah.
And so
I get it.
being aware of it is really part of that issue. And my parents were both divorced and married each other, then got divorced again. And there's kids from all the things. And my thing is, I'm doomed to have a second, a third, a failed long-term relationship. It's my fault if it doesn't work because it's in my genes and
all
History.
those beliefs.
Yeah,
That's your
so-
experience, all those beliefs. But what I offer to you is you don't necessarily have to hold that
Yeah.
belief. In fact, I have gotten rid of so many of those beliefs, including the fear of being bullied. I couldn't even raise my hand in class when I got to high school. I was so scared of standing out, and I couldn't speak in front of people. Now I speak in front of thousands of people. I don't even get nervous. I get excited, but I don't get nervous.
Right.
You can change, you can shift it. And that's the difference between, oh, I know what happened and I'm unplugged from what happened.
Yeah.
Rachel and I are both second generation divorcees. Our parents, us.
So that's
And
a guilt,
yes,
right?
so that guilt is huge. And I know that guilt is also wrapped up in your past too. How do you separate that? How do you combat that? How do you let go of that guilt?
What's the guilt that you're holding? Can we get specific?
guilt
What
is
does it sound
that-
like to you?
My parents are divorced. I'm divorced. My kids are doomed. That's the guilt.
Ah,
They don't have good role models
It's
because
not a
our
generational
role models got divorced.
Yep.
We've
Right.
gotten divorced. So now we're continuing the pattern. So our children are not that it's hereditary,
That's
but it
the-
feels like
But
it's
they went-
hereditary.
Feels hereditary.
Because
Yes.
yeah.
I didn't see good relationships.
Yeah. We know that divorce is such a big part of our culture, and we're not taught how to do relationship well. My partner and I, it continually blows our mind how healthy we are, what we can talk about, and where we've come from.
Yeah.
We're not, we both are skilled because we both do similar stuff. We weren't taught that. So it's not our fault. And I'm going to say our. I remember when I asked my husband for a divorce, he said, the shame you're bringing on our family, the shame you're bringing on our kid. And I was like, that's not my belief. Don't give that to my kid, our son. But that's what he learned it was. So how do you get rid of the guilt, or how do you get rid of the shame, or feeling like it's our fault? You do some work. So for example, what I might do with somebody, if there's a belief of, I'm screwing up my kids, I'm doing the same thing to my kids that happened to me, I'm at fault. All right. So then there's a part of you that's whipping you and saying, it's your fault, raking you over the coals.
Yep.
You should have known better. So that's where we're going to feel like, oh man, something's wrong with us. And so if there's a voice that's telling us that, then in my work, I would get rid of that voice. I would take a stand and go, hey, I did the best I could, and I'm doing the best I can now, and it is not my fault. And to embody that and to believe it and energetically feel it in your bones. Because intellectually, I could say, oh, it's not your fault. Everybody gets divorced. We weren't taught that. But in
Right.
our bodies, it hurts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep. It's almost like you speak it into existence.
Yeah. But
Speak
you
it
also
and
have to
feel
believe
it.
it. Believe it. Yeah.
I had this client that came to me. She was in her early 60s. She was out of a relationship for a couple of years, a really hard divorce. She was ready to go back out there, but she kept sabotaging the dating thing. I'll keep it simple. She just kept sabotaging the dating thing, and she didn't understand why.
That was me. That was me.
Did I miss something?
That was me. I
That's
did
her
that. I sabotaged.
Oh, so
Yeah.
I was like, I see the waving. I'm like, ah. And
No.
a lot of us do that. So she was sabotaging herself. So we did this process. And the long and short of it is and you don't have to remember your past, but she did. She remembered this moment when she was dating or getting interested in boys when she was like 15. And she got shamed with some pretty bad language from her dad. And in that moment, she said, this is why I'm sabotaging now, because I'm afraid of being shamed by my dad. My dad's not even in my life anymore. But inside of her, she was afraid on some unconscious level that she was going to be a slut. It made no sense intellectually. So we did a process. We unplugged from that. She's been with her soulmate, I don't even know, I've lost track, 2-3 years or something. We take on these beliefs of it's our fault or we're bad parents. That's the work. We need to slow down. We need to give ourselves a lot of love and compassion so that we can go into the next relationship feeling more whole. And I say more whole. We're whole, but we carry some stuff. We all carry some stuff. I was crying with him the other day. I'm like, I feel badly about X, Y, and Z. And we talked. we move through it, but we have not been taught those skills. It took minutes for us to get through it.
Yeah.
What about self-love? Self-love is like the catalyst.
It's everything.
It's
I am.
Everything.
To add to that is when you say be your own soulmate, what do you mean in self-love in that?
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. So often we're looking for another to fill us up. We're looking for that twin flame. And at the end of the day, we are with ourselves for our whole lives. And we want to be in alignment with our greatest self, our greatest expression without the crap we've picked up along the way. We want to go into that next relationship shining our divine light, being who we are fully. And we can only do that if we feel safe. And it's not about the other person. It's about loving ourselves and knowing we have value. So who better to be loving you than you, having your own back? Because here's the thing, if we're not loving ourselves, and I say love, self-love in action, if we find ourselves tripping and falling in some way and we start to yell at ourselves, oh my God, you're such an idiot, you're so stupid. We do this. We talk so meanly to ourselves. We would never do that to a little kid that fell on the ground and had a boo, be like, oh honey, let's pick you up and give you a hug and a kiss. We don't do that. So if we don't take good care of ourselves, why would we be so shocked that someone else is not going to show up like that? When we take good care of ourselves, the bar is high, much higher, and we're going to spot the people that are not going to treat us well, and we will want that. We will desire that because we will not accept anything less than that because we love ourselves. That's what that's about. Soulmate to ourselves, be our best friends, and then welcome somebody who will treat you like that.
What is a mini love plan?
Oh my God, you guys did some research.
Oh yeah, we're ready, man.
Research when we have guests.
Yeah.
Guests and
We just fly by the pants.
because it's my show and he just lives in it.
Man, I appreciate that. When somebody wants to work with me, like that woman, I don't just work with anyone. I really don't. They have to have some level of honesty and desire for changing their ways, not just tell me how to write a good profile, because I can tell you how to get into a relationship tomorrow. I'll help you get a relationship tomorrow. Do you want a relationship or do you want a relationship?
Yeah.
When somebody does speak with me, because I offer consultations, I open up a handful of spots every month, free consultations. Happy to give you a link for the people that follow you.
Absolutely.
The first thing is, what's your North Star? What do you desire? Why do you want it? How would that feel? What are the challenges? What's your reality? Oh, I keep dating the same person. It keeps crashing and burning. I'm terrified of having the same relationship. Okay, so that's where we start.
Funny.
Sorry, you choose funny? Is that what you said?
Choose funny. Like when
You
I was
choose funny.
dating, if they, I was just like, no, sorry.
She was
Next.
nitpicking. No.
I'm like, you have the same mannerisms. You have the same job. You have this. You have a mother. Nope, we're done.
Well, and there's reasons for those eyes of, let me look for the red flags. And so the mini plan that I offer people is the next steps. I can hone in on some of their patterns and give them some very specific tools right in that conversation so they can start moving forward. So if they have a really mean inner critic, I'll give them an example of how to handle the inner critic. If they're not doing well online, I can spot usually what it is. And so I give people a mini plan. Do this, don't do this. Let me support you in this. Yeah. So it's the work I do. I really am good at spotting what's going on in that conversation. And then I let people know what they can do on their own. And then, of course, open it up to the possibility of working together if people really want to dive deeper.
Yay! What advice would you give to someone who feels hopeless about dating at this stage of their life?
Yeah, so the hopeless is a biggie. It's one of the biggest ones I see and hear about, is not believing it's possible because I'm older. Who's going to want me now? You totally threw me off, Rachel.
No, when he was serial dating.
Oh yeah. Nobody wanted me. I wasn't pretty. Oh yeah. I went through the phase.
Do that. Like we have too much baggage. I broke up my marriage. How would anybody want to date me? I've got 3 kids. I got no
We all
money
have
in the
our
bank.
stories.
You know.
And again, that's the self-sabotage. That's that part inside of you that's protecting you so you don't end up in a relationship that's going to hurt you again. It makes sense. Let's just tell you you're too old, you're too fat, no one's going to want you. Perfect strategy. And then you feel hopeless. Great. that we call that the risk manager inside of you. This part that's going, oh, this is all happening in the background. Oh, she wants to date. Let's let her know how it's not going to work out. Let's scare the shit out of her. And so it works beautifully. So what do I tell somebody who feels hopeless? I go to, and if you weren't hopeless, if there was the possibility of having someone, what would it look like? How would that impact your life? How would it feel to have somebody at the breakfast table like I had the other day talking about the things that matter most to you, or having plans with somebody like he's coming to this Pink Floyd tribute band with me Friday night. I'm like stoked to share it with him. What would that be like? And to get to the hopeless, you have to start first kind of feeling into the dream again. And then my specialty really is breaking through the sabotage and the fear that holds you back, because that fear is there for a reason. We need to learn how to dance with that fear so it's not squashing us, and so we can have the courage to move forward and believe it's possible. So it's some work. It's some work to do to believe it's possible. And I can't tell you how many of my clients have met such spectacular people. So it is possible. And I hope anybody that's thinking it, but not for me, trust me when I say all shapes, all sizes, all age, it is possible for everyone, no matter what your circumstances, no matter what your circumstances, there is somebody that can meet you.
We have a lot of people in different stages of divorce. Yep. We've had people that sign the papers that day and they've been on our show. So we have lots of people that are in different phases and they're like, I'm going to just start dating so they see that I'm worthy. Or if they left me, like, I'm going to just go date all the people that are like him, or date his friends, or do this. And I think a lot of times when you get to the point where, like, I got to the point where was dating someone for a couple months. He lied to me the entire time. One of my traumas from being a kid is my sister was killed in a car accident. And so my one thing was like, you can't like be an alcoholic. You can't do this. You can't have any DUIs. You can't. It was really specific.
Yeah.
And so this guy that I was dating, he, before we met, had gotten a DUI and he was probably going to go to jail for a year. And he told me. And I was like, I'm done. This is ridiculous. The world is going. You don't need to have anybody. I stopped. I was like, I'm done. I'm just going to be single for the rest of my life. And it took me going, okay, so if I meet someone, I'm going to communicate the shit out of everything, because in my marriage, I got the silent treatment, or I was the problem, or I had a whole entire family that wasn't my actual family I married into that was always telling me that I was no good. I had all this stuff. And I think when I was first dating Lance, I had so many walls that I didn't know that I was falling in love. And I think what happened is no matter what was in my mind, I just said it. And I've never done that before. And I realized that I felt safe. Finally, someone was listening to me and wasn't trying to fix it, but was like, what do you need? What can I help you do that? Or
so
how to do that? And so again, we talk about everything. We talk about things.
Exactly.
You know, so it really took me owning my shit. I'm no longer going to be silent. Once I found my voice, it was like, hit.
I know. Look out.
The podcast, of course, has always helped me deal with topics I didn't know I didn't deal with. So
therapy.
The first year I cried like the whole time.
Every episode.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Listeners were talking and were chiming in saying, she didn't cry this time. She might have, but we didn't hear it. I think what happens is we forget how to communicate because we silence ourselves. We silence our inner person. That little girl that just wanted to be accepted and loved by her mom, or not be bullied, or not be a caretaker all the time. She didn't have a voice. And when she found it, it was like, that's not my shit to hold on to anymore.
Good for you.
But the shit that I brought into, like, I used to fight with my ex just to see if he cared about me. That was just what my mom and dad did.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to fight with you so you prove to me that you love me by apologizing. Even though it's my fault.
How healthy is that, right? And
terrible.
And what does that do? But there's a part of you that was like, I only know this, and this is how you get love, and I need love. So let me create some drama to know that I'm loved. These are the things that we do. So good for you for knocking down some walls and speaking up. Amazing. Good for you.
I was telling someone's family, like, we've been together for 4 years and like 8 months, and we've never had a fight.
Yeah.
Because even if something is, we don't agree, I'm like, okay, I don't agree, but I understand why you have that voice or
Yeah, to
why
be able
you
to
feel
go
like
into
that.
the other person, that's amazing. That's
Yep.
beautiful. And
So-
we could have had a fight this week with some of the things that I brought up with him. In the past, it would have been a fight, but how I speak it, how I own it, and his ability to go, my partner is struggling right now. Let me
Yeah.
park my ego at the door and hold the space for her. It's called healthy connection.
David, before
but
this-
we haven't learned it mostly.
David's favorite word is don't keep parking spaces for people that don't deserve them. So
Yeah. That's nice. I like that.
Spaces in your brain are very precious. I've got
Yep.
a funny question. How come, you ready? How come men online, men lie about height and women lie about weight?
Again, I know. Again, it's fear of rejection, fear that
But
no
you
one's
wanna
going to
be found
want
out,
you.
man.
I know.
So you ask for forgiveness
they fall in
and
love with you
permission.
before they get to know the real you is I don't understand it.
Yeah.
There was lots of times I'm like, this picture is from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what CGI or AI did to
It's
it.
tricky. Yeah.
But
It's a sad thing. Not that people are lying. It's sad because of why they're lying. People are afraid that they're not going to be wanted. And the reality is it's true. Men are programmed to want, in general, smaller, skinnier model people, not all men, but some men. And women are programmed in actually, as well as in their DNA, to have big, strong guys to take care of them and protect them. We are
Fend
human
off the
beings.
saber cats.
Dang.
What'd you say about cats?
To fend off the saber cats.
Yeah.
The saber
Prehistoric
cats. Yes.
days.
Please protect me.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but it's true. I mean, I just recently, I love this. She said we did the inner work. She was ready to get out there. We were working on the profile. And then she told me she's 5'7". I don't date anybody that's under 5'11". When she was looking at the profiles of other people. And I said, you just got rid of 95% of the men in America. I said, so let me ask you. And because her answer could have been no, but I said, if the most amazing man showed up in your life that was 5'7", 5'8", and met you in all the most important ways that you've described, would you not want him? And she said, absolutely not. So she changed it. She changed her requirements in her app. 2 weeks later, she met somebody. Totally in love. Great
You
guy.
can hit the side button there, David, to stop that.
Oh, stop.
I know, I was thinking it was me. I'm like,
There we
I don't
go.
feel anything here.
Don't worry, folks. It was David again with his technology.
Wow.
He's got 900 different technology things, and the phone is the one that throws him off.
So,
That's my answer. It's all about fear of rejection and not being wanted. And sadly, that is the reality. And people are limiting themselves and missing out on amazing people because of it.
Do you think there's signs that we can look for? David and I aren't dating or anything, but we've been there and we've all been through that phase now, especially if you've been divorced, because that's our topic normally. We do just regular relationships, long-term relationship. We consider also
Same.
a divorce because you have a lot of baggage and stuff like you talk about. Do you think there's signs and signals that you are ready to date? Because I know a lot of us just go date because they feel like that's the next thing to do. And they're like, oh, I've worked on myself. It's been 6 months. It's been a year. It's been 18 months. It's been whatever. Do you think that there's some things that people out there that are dating can be like, oh yeah, I'm not ready to date. I am sabotaging. I'm doing that. I'm green flags, red flags, all the things.
Yeah. I when you want to find that person, that's the first thing. Okay. Oh, I want to date. I want to find somebody. Then the next thing is your question. Am I ready? Have I taken time to really ask myself, what is the next chapter of my life looking like? Do I want to travel? Am I a homebody? Do I want somebody that works a certain kind of hours, or do I want somebody that works at home? I'm just riffing here. Like, who is this person that you want to call in? I do this relationship blueprint exercise with people that's about values. What are your values now? And I'm not just saying I want somebody kind and honest and loving. We all want the same thing. But underneath it, how does it show up for you with those values? Like deep dive. Do you really know yourself and what makes you happy? Because if you don't have a clear vision of your North Star, you're going to get a lot of messy stuff. So you're ready when you desire it.
Space junk. You're going to get a lot of space
Thank
junk.
you. I was like, what is all that stuff called in the space? Yes, space junk. Yes. Yes. And you don't want the meteor crashing and burning in you either. You're ready when your heart says yes, and you're so clear about who you want. However, I will add in, if you haven't unpacked, you're going to have some messiness, almost guaranteed, because you just carry the past with you, and the past needs to be left in the past. Learn from it. That's wisdom. The past without emotions is wisdom. But if you're still charged and attached, and that's gonna trip you up.
I had a friend that was serial dating, mutual friend, serial dating, different guys all the time. She was expecting like first date, they're going to get married, all this stuff. She didn't work on herself. She wasn't working on how she does relationships. She was like, it's this or nothing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the nothing led her to be like, oh, I'm just going to go out and date. I'm going to date the 20-something years old. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do all the things. And then one day she says, I'm done. I'm like, you're done what? And it really was, she didn't know who she was. She's been by herself for 10 months now and is just finding out who she is, what she like, what she'll accept. She's actually had 2 divorces. And so she's just, I'm no good at this. I'm terrible. Where now she's going, I want substance. I want security.
Yes.
I want safety. I want this. And she's very successful in her own right. So she doesn't need somebody.
Yeah.
Now she's at the point where she's actually looking for people that are in the real world. I think
Beautiful.
making people to that person didn't exist. And she's one of those people that has a 100-page list of all the things that a guy has to have.
Limiting.
And she was really pushing them away because I think her soul was going, no, we need to be alone. We need to do this. And I think what happens is we aren't ready. Again, leaving a marriage, we're not ready to deal with our own shit. And the fact that something could have happened to you when you were little, there's something that happens when you were in your first marriage, the reason you got out of that, now you have kids and dealing with their stuff and them being mad at you and one not talking to you and all the things. And I think it really took when nothing was out there available in a big city was, I need to look inside me. And so I think a lot of times when we're starting to date, how would you say that people can help with confidence and going, I'm going on my first date. I want to be confident. I don't want to talk about the ex. I may not be ready.
Which is so hard not to do. Oh my God.
I also think you need to put your foot, you need to step into that a little too, to see, is this what I really want? Once you say, I want to date, if you don't step into that pool a little bit, you won't know if the water's warm, if it's friendly, because there's not a lot of friendlies out there.
I'm so in support of what I call dating research. Get out there. See what you like, see what you don't like. But more importantly, because of my slant on the healing part, is how are you feeling on those dates? What are they saying? How are you reacting? Are you noticing you're constricted? Are you noticing that your chest is tight? Are you relaxed? Are you enjoying? Are they getting under your skin? And then ask yourself,
breathing.
What? Right. They're breathing, they're eating. And it's complicated, and yet it's not. I think we make it way more complicated than it needs to be. However, getting out there, just having that proof that you can do it. Sometimes to work through that fear, you need to take that first step and just trust that you're going to be okay. Have your friends on speed dial and say, hey, I'm dipping my toe in it for a drink.
Same place on the same day at the same time.
Rachel.
So there are ways to do it. And I always say I'm the no rules girl. I give guidelines, and I have some pretty solid guidelines. There are ways to streamline the online dating, which is one of the best tools. It sucks sometimes, but that's how I found my partner. And that's where most of my clients have found people, if you know how to do it. And ideally, not ideally, but what happens often is most of my clients don't have a lot of dates. That's good. Have good dates. Have quality dates.
Quality instead of quantity. Hear that?
Don't have a date if you haven't had a phone call. Feel their energy. Have you asked certain questions? And again, it's not like a million questions, but there are certain things to set up before you get all dressed up and spend a lot of money, travel. There are ways to do it.
That is something that someone needs to write. If you do write this book out there, somebody, just remember me, just mention me or something. what all the signs and signals like ghosting. Who knew what a ghosting was until dating at 45? You're like, all right, I'm here.
Where'd
Where are
they
you
go?
at? No answer for. I'm like, what happened?
It's so
Why didn't you
easy.
show up?
It's so easy.
Yeah, there's
I was with my ex-husband, I don't know, a couple of years ago, we were hanging out, and I know that he was
What's that
dating.
like?
You know what?
What
It
is
was
that
a couple
like?
years
Oh
ago.
my
I think
God.
that says it all.
she said a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't see each other that often. Lots of love, but it's in its place. I asked him straight out. I was like, so do you ever ghost people? And he's yes. And I was like, why?
Yeah.
I figure I'm not with him for a reason. And I said, why do you, I'm curious, what's that about for you? And his figure, if I don't respond after a few messages, they'll get the point.
When
It's
I give the point, I'm not interested.
Be an adult and be a kind person, in my opinion, and just say, hey, I think you're a nice person, or I enjoyed meeting you, or you don't even have to say that. Just say, I'm not feeling the fit and I wish you well.
The best.
Most people will accept that and appreciate that because you're saving time for them. Ghosting is it's just fear. It's fear again. Every bad behavior is rooted in fear. Oh, I might have to tell her something and then she might say something and blah, blah, blah. It's like just if everyone could just be kind to each other and treat everybody the way we want to be treated, certainly when it comes to that. Ghosting sucks. I've been ghosted. It's like, where'd they go? We had this great conversation.
We're going to be here all day. It's already been 40 minutes. We're going to come back for part 2 one of these days because this was too much fun.
It was great.
I want to thank you for hanging out with us this
Thank you for
afternoon.
answering all those
Yes.
questions.
Yeah,
like,
but-
wish we had.
But we didn't even touch the surface, I think.
Girl, we have pages.
Happy to come back. And for anybody that wants more information
Yeah.
or that,
But
you
how
know,
can people find you on the internet? Give us your stuff.
absolutely. So my business name is Midlife Love Out Loud. So that's midlifeloveoutloud.com. That's Midlife Love Out Loud on YouTube. It's everywhere. And if you go to my website, that's where everything is, including my love quiz, but also you can apply for one of those love breakthrough sessions where I will give you a mini plan and we can talk about what's working, what's not working. So Midlife Love.
Some of the folks out there need all the things. So
They need
get in
mini-
touch with her.
They need mini, maxi. They need.
You can
this,
see what
they
we
need
just did
everything.
in 40 minutes. If she can give us those just tidbits of what she does and she can help you, just
Yeah.
reach out because this was just a tiny tip of the iceberg, what you just said.
There
I
you
just
go.
repeated it. But thank you so much. This was like
Yeah,
really
thank
informative. Again, not dating, but I also have children that date and
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
that you can do. And
I hate it.
yeah.
Hate
It could be so much easier, so much more effective, and we can find a person that really aligns with us when you know how to do it well. So I look forward to speaking with anybody that comes through you guys. It's been such a pleasure.
All right, hold on for a second. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, wait.
What?
Bye.
Bye.